the beginning of the spring offensive. So let them start their offensive knowing now that their inspirational leader, and I understand the difference between Al-Qaeda, which is basically that Arab radical group that spread its poison and metastasized into this, infecting much of extreme radical Muslims. The Al-Qaeda on the one hand, and the Taliban, which is a much more indigenous Afghan group, Afghan and Pakistani group, basically the Pashtuns, the tribe, the major tribe there in the southern Afghanistan and northern Pakistan. There's a big difference between the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and yet they have drawn their inspiration from Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is the one who dragged them into the war against the West. They must be affected by this. There's no way to put a smiley face from their point of view on this enormous news that Osama Bin Laden, the Al-Qaeda mastermind, is dead. The United States has his body, and that's what the president is supposed to be suggesting very, very shortly. Okay, go ahead, Katie.
No, and I think that what you might see now going forward is that whatever is left of Al-Qaeda, now Al-Qaeda Prime, the Osama Bin Laden, that group has not been masterminding any big attacks in the last several years. Now, they have been seriously degraded, and with this, I think you can assume that they're really pretty much on life support. But what they will do, and you'll see all the Al-Qaeda franchises around the world, my guess is that they will ramp up their attacks because they want to make the world think that they're not irrelevant. They want to let the world think we are living on past Osama bin Laden. So in a weird way, you may see more soft terrorist attacks throughout the world. But I do think that for the fence sitters, for Afghanistan and the Pakistani government, the Taliban, who may have wanted to be allied with Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, they now may have a reason to say, well, we're not going to have a relationship with Al-Qaeda going forward. Let's go to the negotiating table. I mean, look, those are all speculative. They're all, maybe overly optimistic, but the game has changed.
I hope so. Let's, all right, from speculation, let me give you some facts here, folks, what we know. The House Homeland Security Committee chairman, our friend Peter King, the Republican congressman from Long Island, was notified of this profoundly important news that Osama bin Laden is dead at around 5 minutes after 10 o'clock this evening. In other words, 5 minutes after we went on the air. Oh, now the Associated Press is running a bulletin that bin Laden was killed in a mansion outside Islamabad in Pakistan, that he was killed living in a mansion outside Islamabad, Pakistan. General McInerney, I don't know if that's a fact. We are getting this bulletin from our rival network CNN is suggesting that. But if he was living in a mansion in Pakistan, my goodness, don't the Pakistanis have something to answer to?
Well, we know he wasn't living in a cave, which that B-roll continues to show us. He's on dialysis. He thinks he's a Saudi prince. He acts like it. So he was living in good quarters, as we would say.
Here, hold on 1 second. Just another quick fact. Jennifer Griffin is reporting that officials in the Pentagon are telling Jennifer, our Pentagon correspondent, that familial DNA was used to identify Osama bin Laden. In other words, they got the DNA samples from relatives, blood relatives of bin Laden, and they used that to identify him. And again, if you are just tuning in, momentous news. Osama bin Laden, the terror mastermind who has affected every American's life in one way or another over the last 10 years, is dead, killed by a bomb or missile. One report now is saying that he was living in a mansion outside Islamabad, Pakistan. But that would indicate Islamabad, Pakistan is in the center of Pakistan. It's not a remote. All right, Jennifer Griffin, our Pentagon correspondent, joining us right now. Jennifer, tell us everything you know.
Okay, I have new details, Geraldo. I have confirmation from a senior U.S. intelligence official that Osama bin Laden is dead. The body is the U.S. is in the possession of his body. I am told that he was killed in Pakistan. I'm still trying to confirm where exactly in Pakistan. There are reports, as you've mentioned, that he was living in a mansion outside Islamabad. We are waiting to confirm that, but I can confirm that he was killed inside Pakistan. We know also from a former senior U.S. official that the intelligence agencies have been in a position for years now to confirm through a DNA match that Bin Laden were dead, and I was told in a sort of a cryptic fashion that look at the fact that he has relatives, so perhaps it's a match based on material that they have, DNA material they have from relatives of Bin Laden.
I just have to say, Jennifer, I just have to say that I have been to Osama Bin Laden's home in Khartoum in Sudan. I've been to his home in Jalalabad in Afghanistan. Obviously, I've been to his residence, such as it was in Tora Bora, outside of Jalalabad. I have never seen a mansion. He's always been lower key than, I can't believe he's living in an ostentatious kind of housing. But Jennifer, go ahead with, so they've had the DNA.
Well, this is what's interesting, and again, we don't have confirmation of that at this point. I can confirm that he was killed in Pakistan. My initial report, the initial information that I received is that it was a bomb, a U.S. Missile that killed Bin Laden, but there are reports that he was shot, suggesting at close range. If that were the case, that could suggest it was in a more urban environment. But again,
that would make a difference.
That would make a difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, Obama's dead. I don't care. What did I say? Osama Bin Laden is dead. I don't care how he died, but bullet or bomb or missile.
But we can say, Geraldo, that it happened nearly a week ago, and that gave the reason we're hearing about this now is that they have now confirmation, DNA confirmation, a match that it was in fact Bin Laden.
It is, and General Jack Keane, it would make a difference, gunshot or bomb or missile, would it not? If it's indeed in metropolitan Pakistan?
I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever in terms of what the means were. The fact that he's in Islamabad, I don't think we should speculate that somehow the Pakistanis were tolerating that. I would hope that the Pakistanis helped in the intelligence source to be able to target him.
I would hope that they helped, but they haven't been particularly helpful, although Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was captured, the actual hands-on commander of the 9/11 attacks. If it were not for the Pakistanis, we might still be looking for that SOB.
Our best takedowns have been in Pakistan, and I think General Keane is absolutely correct that it did require a very close coordination with U.S. forces and with the Pakistani government.
And then the Pakistani government is still playing the game where they tell their people one thing, and we Americans are bad. The Americans are using too much aggressive military action in our country. They're violating our sovereignty. That's what they tell their own people. But on the other hand, we should try to get the Pakistani ambassador on the telephone. That would be...
it's a big government, Geraldo.
Yeah, and some play the game and...
Some do and some don't.
Well, they say they play both ends of the spectrum with the Taliban as well.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that we are witnessing something very historic. CIA Director Leon Panetta, who will soon be suing the Defense Department. He actually was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night. He spoke with key figures on the House Intelligence Committee and briefed them as to what transpired. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are expecting the President of the United States at any moment now to come on live television, and the remarks have now been delayed 46 minutes and 30 seconds. Jennifer, should we read anything into that? Jennifer Griffin, is she reporting it? Okay, the familial DNA, what do you got, Craig? Do you believe that, how do you figure his survival these many months and years, General?
Well, I think he has not always been in Pakistan. I think he was in Iran for part of this period, because our best takedowns, as you pointed out, KSM, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and others were taken down in Pakistan, particularly in the year right after 9/11. So I think what happened is that he may have moved around in different countries. Clearly, he wasn't going to be in Afghanistan because we could reach him there. He had to be where it was difficult for us to reach him. And I think that what may have happened is he may have, if in fact he was in Iran, he may have moved over into Pakistan because things were heating up.
If he was killed in Pakistan, how'd we get his body?
Well, I think that required very close work with the Pakistani government. And there's a difference. Remember, the ISI, there's an element of the ISI, the intelligence effort in Pakistan, that created the Taliban and that are still working with them and supporting them. They could not exist unless the ISI was supporting them in the Pakistani and in the Pakistani government that had been very cooperative. So it's a bipolar thing, if you will, and it's difficult for us to understand